There's 240, actually I just saw it this morning, 272 million people active in the United States between Facebook and Instagram. I can guarantee you most of them are not interested in your products or services. So the challenge is, in that sea of fish, how do you find the right one that is going to be interested in eating your food?
All right, so let's go on to number 2, which is the audience research secrets. So when you put an ad out there, you want to put the ad in front of the right audience. So sometimes especially if you're just starting out, it's the first time you're running ads, you're like, well, I don't really know who my audience is. You have an idea of like, well, are they more male, more female, maybe what kind of age bracket they're in, but you don't really know exactly, all the things they're interested in, and you want to be able to target them on Facebook. The way it works is not keywords. It's not like Google where, if people type in a certain keyword, you can put your ad in front of them. On Facebook, the way it works is by interests. So when you're building out your campaign, you're going to choose different interests that are available. Some of them are not, which we'll also go into here. But in order to unlock and uncover these interests, then we're going to use a tool, which is the one that we use every single time a new account gets started with us. This is the tool that we start with to research the audience. We do a thorough investigation on the type of audience that we're going to target. And we want to know things like maybe what are they into, how do they talk, and all that kind of stuff. And for that, you need to know, so you need to know your avatar, right? But not this kind of avatar. This is, we build out an avatar when we get started, which is basically an audience persona. Again, are they more female, male? Are they younger? Are they older? What race are they? That sort of thing. You want to be able to know that so that you can make your videos and your images more appropriate. And again, the language and the copy that you're going to be using is more in line with your audience. So we're going to use a tool that's called SparkToro, sparktoro.com. Okay, you guys are also going to get a copy of all these slides if you want to look at this. And anybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, just go ahead and comment. We'll DM you a link to all the slides so you can go to this website so you don't forget it. But basically, it's a tool. It's free, by the way. It is limited, so if you want to pay and then unlock the unlimited search, feature, but with you get 5 searches, and that is actually sometimes like way more than enough than you need. So the way it works is once you log in and you create an account, it's going to discover what your audience is into, like what are they reading, who do they follow online, what kind of words do they use, what kind of hashtags are they using, that sort of a thing. So here's an example. This is once you log in and all that. You go to this section called Audience Intelligence, and then you're just going to type in a keyword. You should have a pretty good idea of like what kind of keywords or what kind of category or niche, right, your audience is into. So we typed in keto, and here's what we got. And this is just, again, this is the free version. So once you get the paid version, you can unlock a whole bunch of other stuff. But this, like I said, is a lot of information. So, for example, top words in the bios. Just to clear up one thing, the bio, that's your section in Instagram. When where you put like all your information about yourself on Instagram, that's called your bio. And these are the words that they're using in there, which means that those are the words that they're using to describe themselves. So potentially you can unlock something that you didn't know about your audience, which I have a good example on the next one. But they use words like, obviously, keto, nutrition, diet, and people, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why people there, but hey, that's what the algorithm found. Top hashtags used, so hashtag keto, hashtag low carb. You can take these hashtags, go to Instagram and start searching around them and see, who's using these hashtags, and those are your personas, those are your audience that you're trying to target. So maybe kind of snoop around, look at their images and what are they liking, what are they commenting, that sort of a thing. Who do they follow maybe, and you can uncover, I don't know, influencers like we were learning a couple weeks ago. So the hashtags are pretty important too, but also tells you like what are they, what are they into? Obviously, low carb is very similar to keto, but it's not the exact same thing. So I think keto is only like 5 grams of carbs that you get, not low carb, but it's like basically no carb. But it's interesting that they still identify with low carb as one of the words.
Well, they have carbs in vegetables. And
That's what I'm saying. You only get like
Yeah.
5 a day, I think, which is very, very
it's
limited.
very low carb, it's medium protein, low protein, and high fat. That's
Right.
basically what the philosophy is.
So frequently used phrases. So, coconut oil, obviously a big thing. Anything that has to do with like oils and fats and that sort of thing. I mean, I'm giving you a pretty obvious example, but here's another one. Right below that, you're going to uncover the type of social accounts that they follow. So 11% of the people follow this guy named Tim Noakes. You can click on it and it takes you to his profile so you can see what he's posting about. Whatever he's posting about, people are interested in that because they all follow him, right? Diet doctor, Dr. Jason Fung, who speaks a lot about keto and a lot about intermittent fasting. So you would uncover that, it's not just keto, I got to also talk about intermittent fasting because a lot of them are into that sort of a thing. And then over here on the right, it's going to show you other accounts that have high engagement, but maybe they're not as big as these other accounts. So, you could potentially uncover some influencers there that have a lot of engagement. They're very influencing, and they're going to be a lot cheaper than the bigger guys. Here's another example, CrossFit. Anybody like CrossFit here or into CrossFit? You are? So that's like a cult, man. CrossFit, if you're into that, like you speak a different language, right? So when I typed in CrossFit, here's the kind of words that they're using in the bios: trainer, gym, owner, and level. So it's pretty interesting that like owner is one of them. So when I started doing a little bit of research, a lot of these guys actually, they were either CrossFit like gym owners, or they were just kind of like owners of some sort of business or whatever. So it's like this other, demographic that maybe they have a lot more money, and it would be a good thing to know. I thought this one was interesting. So top hashtags used. So number 1 is CrossFit Games. Number 2 is WOD. Anybody know what that is? Okay, good. Workout of the day. Good. Workout of the day. So you see, this is the kind of stuff that I want to show you guys. It uncovers like a certain language that people are using that you need to then use that language in your copy. So if you start to speak like them, then there's going to be better communication, right? More reality between your brand, and them. So there's a better connection. Make sense? Another one was in the open. I'm like, what is that? Hashtag in the open. So then I researched a little bit, and it's actually something that it's an event that you have to take place in before you get to the CrossFit Games, which is like the main like Olympic Games type of thing or whatever for CrossFit, right? Something like that. So this is interesting. So you can now, let's say you sell, I don't know, a workout band or maybe kettlebells or whatever, then you would include in there, hey, you want to get ready for in the open, or I don't know, whatever makes sense, right? You just got to talk to them how they talk is the point. And then same thing here. So it uncovers like the kind of social accounts that they're into. And then over here, the same thing. So some other accounts that have high engagement. So you can go in there and engage with those. Okay, so once you have a list of all of this different stuff, again, you get 5 free searches, and you can uncover more if you want. But once you have a list of all these kind of like little keywords or different words that they're using or different interests that they're into, then you're going to take that, and we're going to go into another app that I use a lot. This one, you also get it for free, but it's also limited. But we pay for the paid version. I recommend that. It's only like $29, I think, or something like that. But it's super cool. So it's called Connect.io. And this is a website that you can type in some of these keywords that you're unlocking, and it's going to go into Facebook, and it's going to say, okay, I want to target an audience search, find an audience on Facebook to target your ads with. So this is going to unlock all kinds of audiences that you wouldn't even think about sometimes, and things from like magazines to websites to maybe communities and things like that sometimes you target those and nobody else is targeting them. So you discover this like brand new interest that is super low competition, and then you get really, really cheap ads on here. So here's just an example.
So there's one thing about this just to explain why Jorge is covering this subject. There's 240, actually I just saw it this morning, 272 million people active in the United States between Facebook and Instagram. I can guarantee you most of them are not interested in your products or services. So the challenge is, in that sea of fish, how do you find the right one that is going to be interested in eating your food? So that's basically what we need to focus on. And this is something that is just a tool. Because if you just go broad, one of the challenges of traditional marketing is putting your message in the right place. Like if you do a billboard campaign, you got to put it in the right neighborhood where people are driving around, because otherwise you're going to waste all your money. If you do a magazine, you better target the right audience that is actually reading that magazine. If my audience is Latin and then I go to maybe US Weekly, nobody's going to purchase my stuff because my audience is Latin American. So you got to find your audience in that sea of fishes that, again, is going to feed off of your stuff. So it's very important to understand that one of the biggest things that I've seen as failures in the world of social media marketing is targeting too broad or not paying enough attention to finding an audience that could be interested in your product. It doesn't matter how broad you think your product is or how everybody could be your client. It doesn't matter how niche you are. You actually have to work a lot on finding an audience. This is something that you don't have to use this. It's a tool that makes it faster for you to discover audiences. But even, I'm going to show you guys at the end of the workshop the simplicity of using the business manager without software to find an audience based on Facebook's data, because Facebook has a lot of data. That data is already available. This is basically something that makes a connection with the Facebook world and gives you data on steroids. Mm-hmm. And if you want to just have a tool to help you find an audience faster, you can integrate something like that. But if you want to go down to the basics and just get started, this is something that I would say is more down the line as you want to scale and maybe do some more advertising. But Jorge is presenting it as an opportunity right now for those that are ready to go next level with their Facebook advertising. But inside the Facebook suite, it's called the business suite. It used to be called the business manager, where you advertise, where you take your Facebook page and you advertise. Inside that suite, you'll be able to find an audience and have Facebook target a specific demographic that is going to be interested in what you have to offer. And that's going to be a big part. This is a separate subject to maybe an ad creative, creating a content piece or a video or an image. This is finding an audience. I've always said for many years that I've been talking that the best possible ads in the world will not do anything for you with the wrong audience. But the reverse is actually the opposite. The worst ads in the world will help you convert if you have the right audience in place. It doesn't matter, right? Like I can have an ad.
Talk to the right person.
If you talk to the right person, right? I can have an ad that I have a beard, and I have some people here that have a beard. This dude is a professional with that beard, right? If I have an ad that is teaching, is showing me how I can actually was a sucker for that. I fell for that the other day. I bought myself a little trimmer. They targeted me with a trimmer that was amazing, and I thought it was so cool because it can shave, it can trim, and I'm like, that's great. So the ad was great, but even if the ad is terrible, it presents to me a problem that I can solve with it, and I can be like, oh, well, that's cool, let me look at it, and I can make a decision because I am the right audience. So you see, finding an audience, this process is senior in importance than spending a lot of time and money on creating content, because there's just so many people. There's too many fish in the ocean. Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to find what is the exact fish that's going to eat your food, all right?
Yeah, and to the point of like, don't go too broad, go a little bit more focused. So this particular software will tell you here the audience size. So we get a big range from 3 million, 17 million, 36 million, only 1 million, 63,000 or whatever. So, you pick one here that's not too broad. Manuel always recommends, no more than 2 million in audience size, because then you reduce it even more from there by narrowing it down to maybe it's only women, maybe it's only men, and then even more so by the age, right? You're not going to talk to everybody.
If you're enjoying this content, please go ahead and subscribe. help me comment below and let me know if you have any questions about marketing. And I'm on a mission to help as many of you as possible conquer the marketing world. So help me out. Subscribe, hit that button, hit that bell, get notified. Go ahead and subscribe right now.